Let the dead speak and the evidence tell the story. This has been the life's work of our guest tonight. From uncovering the facts in high-profile crimes to fearlessly challenging official accounts, she is known as the mother of forensic pathology in the Philippines. And to many, she is simply Doc for the dead. I'm Angelique Lazo, and this is In Person. A renowned professor and one of only two practicing forensic pathologists in the country, let us all welcome in person forensic pathologist Dr. Raquel Fortun. Dr. Raquel, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello.
Well, we will start with some good news. No? Recently, the Philippines launched this National Forensic Institute, and I think you said that this is a dream come true for you after 28 years or 26 years. Is that right?
Well, yeah, kasi noong 1999 we tried to set up a Forensic Science Institute in UP. And it never took off. This is the first time that somehow the national government seems to be serious about it.
Paano po makakatulong ito sa investigation system ng ating bansa?
We don't really have, the forensic science is at par with other countries. Masyado time behind. There's very little science in the way we investigate. We don't have a system. Hindi automatic. Kung ano yung dapat gawin, gagawin. Hindi ganun yun. In fact, in the Philippines, kung merong lang nagpupush, may relatives, may kaya yung relative na somehow nagkakaroon ng investigasyon. So, kulang tayo. Walang opportunities also for training, which is what we're going to try to address.
Right. So, kanina you were saying it's not automatic. Ano? So, pag meron pong, let's say, murder victim, dadating po ang pulis, so wala pong automatic autopsy na isasagawa sa kanyang mga labi?
Hindi lang autopsy, yung proseso talaga po na CSI, sa scene pa lang, anong dapat mong gawin, anong hindi mo dapat gawin, and the body also as evidence together with other objects at the scene. Anong gagawin mo dun sa ebidensya, mapupunta yan sa laboratories, ano ang standards natin in every aspect. And many times, very superficial. We just do it for the heck of it.
Pero may mga sokot po tayo, hindi ba?
Yes.
So may mga assigned personnel who are supposed to do these procedures.
Yeah, kaya lang ang tanong dyan is yung standards eh. Nagagawa ba sa bawat insidente? Tapos, may choice eh, na wag gawin. Either, minsan yung relatives din, they stop it, or the authorities also. They don't really do it in every step of the way. Like, halimbawa, sa scene pa lang, yung investigation, tapos yung examination of the body, which is what I typically see kasi as a forensic pathologist. Kami yung sa katawan eh. And I've seen a lot of variations in the standards in which the body is examined kasi hindi naman talaga pathologist, hindi forensic pathologist yung gumagawa.
Okay, so ito po, no, dahil nalunsad na nga po itong institute na ito, inaasahan po ba natin na mas dadami pa ngayon ang mga opportunities sa larangan ng forensic pathology?
It's just a start. We're actually groundbreaking lang nung building. Very modest nga yung building. Tapos meron kaming forensic medicine master's program na hindi pa rin na-approve, umabot na sa BOR, Board of Regents ng UP. But it's on its way. Mukhang talagang fina-fast track nila. Ang dami pang kulang. Kulang tayo sa legislation, kulang sa gamit. We're going to try and teach doctors how to properly examine dead bodies. Pero hindi pa namin naayos how many cases can they handle, how are we going to do it. And, hindi lang yung katawan yan, you've got different aspects of forensic science as well, toxicology, those things.
Yes.
Ang daming kailangan gawin.
Yes. So, of course, basically, that person has to be a doctor. Meron po ba siyang dapat specialization aside from just, graduating with a medical degree?
Yung master's program namin, we're targeting doctors.
Yes.
Kasi you have to be a doctor to examine a body. You have to sign a death certificate. You need your license for that. Ideally, sana, you're a pathologist like me. So that's 4 years of residency. You can do that in the Philippines. And then you take the board exams. So may certifying exams yan. Pagkatapos nun, forensic pathology, at least a year. Walang ganyan sa Pilipinas, even now. For me, 30 years ago, and Dr. Lim, who's also in the department, we had to leave the country. Punta ka US. May mga ibang Pilipino, ganyan din ang ginawa, hindi na sila bumalik. Kasi wala ka rin namang babalikan sa Pilipinas, walang trabaho. You're not really recognized as a specialist. So we're trying to address that very realistically. Hindi kailangang pathologist kasi kukunti ang pathologist to begin with. Pagkatapos, kukunti rin ang interesado na mag-forensic pathology right now. But maybe in time, mag-improve. So we're addressing itong mga medico-legal officers, which are doctors, which don't necessarily have training in examining a body as evidence. So we have a long way to go.
Ano po ba ang difference ng isang forensic pathologist and medical legal? Kasi you're putting quotes po on that name.
Sa Pilipinas kasi, ang tawag mo dun sa mga doktor na nag-i-examine ng mga katawan, medical legal. But wala namang standards in terms of anong training that they need to undergo. Usually, ito yung mga doktor sa PNP, sa NBI, but the vast majority of them actually are your municipal or city health officers. So, you have a lot of duties, and then on top of that, pwede kang tawagin ng police, sabihin sa'yo, pa-examine itong bangkay na to. But it doesn't mean na may training sa pag-examine ng patay. Whereas kung forensic pathologist ka, that's it. You have a subspecialty. As I said earlier,
Yes.
you're a doctor of medicine, pasado ka, licensed, and then 4 years of pathology. Pagkatapos nun, meron na namang exam. Certified ka. And then at least a year of forensic pathology, which, as I said, we don't have in the Philippines.
Right.
And then, actually, ideally, may exam ka pa eh.
Ganon. Although kasi, di ba, ang pagkakaalam po namin na pag ikaw ay isang med student, dadaan ka sa phase na yung mga cadaver po ay dinadissect, at talagang ine-examine. That is good, kumbaga, groundwork or basic training, but it's not
It's
enough.
not enough because that's what you're referring to is basic anatomy
Yes, that's right.
in first year.
Yes.
Yes, medical students undergo this anatomy exposure. Yes, yung gross, yung body, and then microscopy. But that's not enough. It's not enough. First year nga, you learn the normal. Ito yung anatomy histology. Ang abnormal, what went wrong is in my field of pathology, which is typically second year. And that's not enough. But the law, the Sanitation Code of the Philippines, seems to take it for granted na pag doktor ka, pwede ka mag-autopsy. Hindi ganun yun. You need training for that.
Pero marami pong lumulusot. Kasi nga wala pang...
Yun na nga. If you look at the Sanitation Code, it says there, autopsy. By whom? By practically anybody, basta doktor. And walang anything there about anong klaseng training, saan gagawin, isa pa yun. Anong support mo? Saan mo gagawin yung examination? That's why you ask doctors in the provinces, for instance, you're the medical legal officer. Tatawagin ka. Doc, pa-examine naman ito. Saan mo dadalhin? Usually, puneraria. Even in the city areas, urban areas. Everybody depends on the funeral parlor. But these funeral parlors are meant for business. They embalm. They don't even have refrigeration for storage of the bodies. I've done cases na walang gamit, walang anything, may papag ka lang. And that is the reality all over the country.
Bilang pagunita sa buwan ng kalayaan, malugod kong binabalita na ang maaram ay mapapanood sa PTV4. Ito po'y para sa ating mga guro at mag-aaral at lahat ng Pilipinong naghahangad na mapalalim ang kaalaman sa katutubong kultura. Ito po si Loren Legarda, nagpupugay sa lahat ng mga maaram sa malayang Pilipinas.
Nagbabalik ang in-person. Kasama natin ngayong gabi si forensic pathologist Dr. Raquel Fortun. Kayo po ay actually one of two forensic pathologists in the Philippines. Before we go to the emotional part, ano pong nagtulak sa inyo para piliin ang profession na ito? Lalo na kayo po yung kauna-unang Filipina forensic pathologist.
It starts with interest, and along the way in medical school, medyo nag-gravitate ako towards legal medicine. It's a subject. And sabi ko, uy, maganda to, parang medical detective work. Tapos, of all the specialties, iniisa-isa mo yan eh. Natuwa din ako sa pathology. And probably, hindi ko kasi type din yung clinics, yung pasyente. Pinipili mo eh. And I don't know, somehow parang type kong mag-dissect. Surgery. Pero hindi ko nagustuhan yung actual surgery of different parts, etc. OB, hindi ko nagustuhan. In a way, maganda yung pathology for me kasi pag nag-autopsy ka, super surgery yun eh.
Yes.
Pero sabi ko nga, wala kang pressure na magmadali, walang anesthesia, walang blood loss, walang pain. Tapos, gustong-gusto ko yung part na you start with questions. Hindi mo alam kung ano nangyari. That's the reason why you're examining the body. And then, yun ang hinahanap mo. So, pag in-examine mo siya, may nakikita kang sagot. And it helps. It helps the family, judicial system, kung umaabot ito sa korte, public health, anong kinamatay niya, sakit ba, nakakahawa, namamana, those things.
Yes.
Lalo na nung nagpunta ako sa America to train in a medical examiner's office.
Yes.
Nakita mo, ay ganito pala. It's not just the judicial system sa korte, pero public health. Ito yung, tapos makita mo, ay well-supported ng Estado kung medical examiner office. I was very lucky na ito yung interest ko, ito yung sinundan ko, and along the way, I had opportunities which I grabbed. And I came back, started, or tried to practice it. Pero ang hirap. Kasi nga, you're starting. I've always been on the defensive. Yun, yung tanong mo sa akin kanina na, anong difference mo sa medico-legal? Parang parati mong pinaglalaban yung field of forensic pathology. Ngayon nga, buti na lang medyo accepted na siya. But when I was starting, it was so hard.
And Wasn't it so depressing, or is it still depressing for you to be facing dead bodies every day when you have to go to work?
Oh, yes. Ang feeling ko nga ano ba to? May empathy ka Not just sa families, but also doon sa namatay. And minsan nga naisip ko, teka muna, bawasan ko yung empathy. Kasi parang, ano ba to, naapektuhan na ako nung...
May emotional.
Oh, yes. Yes. Is it depressing? Oh, yes, it is. Kasi lalo na kung, halimbawa, violent death. Tapos iniisip mo, paano siya... That's part of it. Yung reconstruction.
Yes.
How was he killed? How did he die? Mabilisan, matagal, etc. Plus the other nuances of ideally kasi kung ano yung suot niya, halimbawa, kasama yun sa autopsy. Halimbawa, tinamaan ng bala dito, i-describe mo din yung suot niya, etc. Minsan naiisip mo, did he, she know na ito yung damit niya nung mamamatay siya.
Oh
yung
gosh.
gano'n. So,
ang morbid.
Ang morbid talaga. Tapos ikaw din, mas, mas conscious ka of mortality. Especially when I'm this age.
Yes.
Alam mo na pwedeng-pwede talagang this is your last day and so on. So, the good thing is you tend to treasure every day of your life. You're grateful, umabot ka ng ganitong edad. Those things. But is it depressing? Oh, yes, it is. Very depressing.
Yes. So ano pa po yung mga difficulties na na-experience ninyo kapag ang kaso ay sensitibo, no? At posibleng, ito pa, may involvement ang mga, dapat sana yung mga nagpoprotekta rin sa mga mamamayan.
Isa pa yan, kasi may risks to your safety.
Right.
And I have encountered that time and again sa ibang bansa. Like in that medical examiner office I trained in, may sense of security. Na in the first place, kung may mangyari sa'yo, may investigation na mag-step in at masosolve siguro kung sino pumatay sa'yo. Pero yun yung fear ko sa Pilipinas You know, anybody can just kill you and you end up like your cases. So yun yung nakaka-frustrate din. But you just try, you pray, but you're very, very conscious of your mortality. Especially nga yung onslaught ng mga patayan over the years. You can very well end up with like one of your cases. In fact, I'm so morbid. Matagal ko nang binibilin. Dun una sa boss ko sa US. Pagbalik ko dito, sabi ko sa kanya, if anything happens to me, make sure you fly over and you do my examination. Tapos nung dumating si Dr. Lim from training, she's about 5 years younger than me. Sabi ko sa kanya, ikaw mag-autopsy sa akin Ngayon, I have friends from Australia also. Sila Dr. Cordner. Lalo pa mas medyo sensitive yung times. And I tell him, just make sure, same thing. If anything happens to me, you examine my body, but at the same time, you take over. Kasi isa pang worry ko yung, if anything happens to me, what about my cases? Yung hindi ko tapos. So, yeah. But that's the reality of life.
Do you get nightmares dahil dun sa mga bodies na nakikita mo day in and day out? May mga nagmamarka ba sa inyong consciousness or subconscious?
Not necessarily nightmares, but recently I have had some run-ins with the paranormal.
As in spirits? Voices?
I had to ask for help spiritually, prayers and so on. Because at some point I think I was being affected by all of these things. Sabi ko, ano ba to? Accumulation of decades of work. And that's it. Empathy na naman. Am I empathizing with dead so much. Now overwhelmed na ba ako or whatever. But I had to ask for help because it was affecting me.
What kind of help? Psychological, spiritual,
Spiritual.
exorcism? Meron ba ganun?
Cleansing ang tawag nila doon
cleansing, sorry.
Yeah, so I had a priest come over. I have friends. So, umikot-ikot sa department namin, blines yung areas where I work. And, I trained in a first world country.
Yeah.
So itong mga ganito, may mga superstitions and whatever, hindi sila naniniwala. Kaya over the years, I dismissed it. Kasi sabi ko, scientific-minded ka eh. Hindi yan totoo. But then, again, as it started to affect me, I believer na ako ngayon na there must be something there.
Ano po? Can you describe this? Is this like a voice talking to you, or is it like a presence? Meron bang aura or something?
I don't know if I should divulge it, but it came to a point where it was very problematic.
I see.
And sabi ko nga, ano ba to? Am I losing my mind? That I had a case of a suicide. And so ang feeling ko, ano to? Am I china-channel ba sa akin? Nung kaso, yung feelings niya of depression and so on. And because I was feeling the same thing. Na ang nakakatakot yung part na I was arguing with something in my mind. Na why would I kill myself when I have such a comfortable life. Parang ganun.
Life is good.
Oh, yeah. So, bakit ako nade-depress that much? And, so, doon ako natakot. Na, ano to?
So, paano niyo sinisiguro na mag-objective pa rin kayo,
Yeah.
no? And nananatili yung scientific integrity ng inyong trabaho, lalo na po sa mga kaso siguro na may political or human rights implications?
Training yan eh. And, yun na nga, naka-isang taon ako, ito yung pinaka-basic training ko in a medical examiner's office. And, I was asked to do 100 cases. It's not really enough, but it's a good start. So, 100 cases, it was enough for me to learn how to approach each one. Yung paano mo gagawin? Okay? Yung utak mo, ano ang...
When you see the case, alam mo na yung approach. Oo.
Tapos yung holistic na, paano mo i-connect sa scene, other evidence, when do you refer to other people, how do you come up with a report, all those things. Yung approach, that's what I learned. Pag uwi mo ng Pilipinas, wow, ibang-iba ang environment dito. So yung mga natutunan ko nga abroad, halimbawa, i-temper mo na. Teka, Pilipinas ta. Like, one example, dealing with media. Kasi ang turo sa akin doon, dapat professional. You're prepared with your statement, etc. But in the Philippines, ambush interview, no such thing. Tapos ibang-iba ang korte doon sa korte dito. So I had to relearn, unlearn some things,
Adjust to the Philippine setting.
Ibang klase.
Ibang Pinoy.
But that was what? I came back 30 years ago nga, and then over the years, I think I have learned a lot. Ibang-iba yung practice mo dito sa labas. And that is, I think, my advantage when I teach. Ganito tayo eh.
Kasi hands-on talaga.
Oh, yes, hands-on.
Hindi lang libro. Hindi lang
Ibang
theory.
klase.
Yung practice talaga.
Like halimbawa, yung pag-examine ko ng mga patay na binaril, ang daming patayan kasi sa Pilipinas eh, na guns.
Unfortunately.
Okay? Unfortunately. So, I think mas marami akong maiko-contribute in terms of, compared to somebody else abroad na ang peaceful na society nila. Wala silang patayan doon. Malayo. And I have encountered also bodies in different stages of decomposition.
Yes.
How do you, again, examine gunshot wounds there?
Yes.
How do you type a report where ang dami-daming tama? So you address your limitations. Sabi ko nga I use the word probable a lot.
Yes.
You don't stick your neck out and say ito
na agad.
Anyway, I
It's
adjust.
full of challenges, to say the
Definitely,
least.
especially in the Philippines.
Yes,
Ibang klase.
So, para po sa inyo, ano po ba ang pangunahing problema pagdating po sa police procedure, pagdating sa mga kaso ng pagkamatay? Mahina po ba talaga ang death investigation system at yung pong scene investigation? Siguro po, pasasagot natin yan sa inyo. After this break, magbabalik po ang In Person.
Susunod sa On Assignment. Ayon sa DOH, pabata ng pabata ang nagkakaroon ng HIV. At kung hindi pa ito maaagapan, maaaring lumobo pa sa mahigit na 400,000 ang mga kaso nito ngayong taon. Dapat ba magdeklara na ng National Health Emergency for HIV? Yan ang tututukan ni Bien Manalo.
Hindi ito biro na sana isipin nila na ang HIV napakahirap na sakit.
Ating alamin ang mga kwento ng kabayanihan sa Pag-asa Island, isa sa mga isla sa West Philippine Sea na pilit pa rin inaangkin ng China. Ang sitwasyon doon, binisita ni Patrick De Jesus.
Dito yung buhay namin, okay man din. Masaya man din kami dito. Pagdating naman doon sa ating sitwasyon, sa isip natin, okay na kami dito. Pero hindi rin kami panindihan.
Ngayong Lunes, alas 7 ng gabi, dito sa inyong People's Television.
Nagbabalik ang in-person kasama natin ngayong gabi for this very interesting at medyo kakaiba pong interview with Dr. Raquel Fortun, forensic pathologist. Yung pong nabitin nating tanong, yung tungkol nga po dun sa police procedure natin. Talaga bang dun pa lamang marami na ho tayong kailangan ayusin, yung mga death investigation system natin, yung crime scene investigation, all these things that can make your work easier or harder?
Well, definitely wala tayong death investigation system the way other countries have it. Like halimbawa, yung mga may roots sa England, meron silang coroner system.
Yes.
But we were never really under England that long for them to pass it on to us. Kaya pag tinignan mo yung mga nasa Asia na naging British colony, kahit pa paano mas angat sila than us. Medical examiner, yun sana yung shift from coroner to medical examiner. And I am actually more in favor of an ME, medical examiner type. Kasi forensic pathologist yung nandun. Wala ng coroner. But anyway, so wala tayo, either one. So meron lang tayong medical legal system or medical legal officer. Pero hindi siya sistema eh. Tawag mo lang doon sa doktor na nag-i-examine is medical legal. That's it. Wala nga support eh.
At wala siyang sinusundang SOP, yung mga...
Wala eh. Tapos parang ang problema sa Pilipinas, mababaw. Pwede na yan. That's a very common excuse. Pwede na yan.
Papasa na yan. Nakakalusot na.
At saka yung ipas sa Diyos na lang. I've heard that a lot.
Right.
Ipas sa Diyos na lang. Tapos ngayon, di ba, I don't know if you've noticed it. Minsan may mga patay na there seems to have been some violence involved.
Yes.
Napansin niyo ba yung yung sisiw?
Yung nakapatong sa kabao.
Maglalagay sila ng sisiw.
Para nga daw saan yun?
Habang tumutuka daw yung sisiw kasi yung konsyensya daw nung pumatay ay mapikprik or whatever.
Ayun.
But you know, the horrible part of that is I heard that they bury.
The sisiyo?
The sisiyo with the body.
Oh, naku naman.
Because I saw that once and I was so horrified because this is animal abuse.
Oh, that is animal.
Anyway, come on, there's science.
Right.
There's science. All the way. Dun sa scene, dun sa mga ebidensya, dun sa body. And behind na behind tayo sa ganyan. There's another thing, yung attitude ng Pilipino ba ang may problema? Aside from, pwede na yan, bahala na. Hindi tayo ganun ka-serious sa accountability. Meaning, kasi ang forensic science, we go for the truth. Kung ano yung lalabas, defensible through scientific methods, yun, nang lalabas. Pero, may mga Pilipino na ay wag nating gawin yan kasi pag lumabas ito, tatamaan si ganyan, itago na lang. And that's something I compare with halimbawa sa mga Amerikano because that's where I trained.
So nako-compromise po, no? Yung search for the truth kapag ganun.
Yes. Kasi nga parang, ano to, pinagtatakpan natin? Ayun, I think baka naman connected din yan dun sa pwede na yan.
Yeah. Okay. Marami na kayong nahawakang very high-profile cases. Pwede niyo po bang mabanggit yung maybe a few of them na naka-apekto rin po sa public awareness tungkol sa forensic science?
Some of them stand out in my mind kasi for one reason or another. Like halimbawa, the very first mass disaster I encountered was the ozone disco fire.
Yes.
Kasi umuwi
So tragic.
Umuwi ako ng September of 95. That happened in March of 96, something like that. And very frustrating yun sa akin kasi so nandun ka sa office mo, kababalik mo lang, nag-train ka. So ang feeling ko noon, ay alam ko yan, alam ko kung anong gagawin dyan. Parang gusto mo magtaas ng kamay. Tawagin niyo ako. Yeah.
Yes.
Siyempre, paano ka papasok? Yun nga ang sinasabi kong nasa Ivory Tower in the University of the Philippines. Wala ako sa frontline. So unless you come to me and refer a case, ask for my help, wala akong magagawa. So ozone stood out kasi nga mass disaster siya and talagang ito na naman, palpak na palpak yung handling of the bodies. Halo-halo. Daming naghahabol. Nagkamali yung pagbigay. And I think we ended up with hopelessly unidentified, mismatched bodies. We met relatives na, ayun na, bayaan na natin, wag na.
Let them rest.
Oh yeah, yung mga arguments na, hindi bali nang mali yung nakuha ko. Oh yes, isipin ko na lang na yung anak ko, na ilibing, pinagdasal ng ibang tao. Ganun eh.
What about DNA? Hindi ba mas
In
reliable yan?
1996,
Hindi pa.
wala pa tayo.
I see.
We tried. Wala pa tayo noon. But that could have been done. Why not? In my subsequent cases, may mga na-refer na ako sa UP DNA analysis lab. Yung mga bata na nasunog sa Damas. Asosasyon de Damas Pilipinas,
Yes.
something like that.
Orphanage.
Christmas. Yes, unfortunately. Well, they're not really orphans, yung iba.
Or yung mga under the care of...
Yes, mga iniiwan ng parents kasi nagtatrabaho.
Yes.
And meron kaming hits doon through DNA, which was a first in the Philippines. Kasi may mga nanay, tatay, but best of all, alam mo ba yung mga babies na tinatago yung pusod? Na, hindi ba yung natatanggal?
Yes.
Yung pag nag-dry
Yung
up?
umbilical cord?
Yes.
Opo.
Yung ako, ginawa ko yun eh. Hindi ko sabi sa akin, gawin mo
kept
yan
the
eh.
umbilical cord of
Yung yung dried stump.
dried,
Yung
uh-uh.
stump
Yes.
lang. Lalagay mo sa baby book. Okay?
Okay.
Yung mga ibang nanay, tinago. And that has the DNA of the child
Yes.
na pwede mo i-match. And we were able to do that for some. was the first. And you know, that is something that has to be encouraged. Yung isang nanay, masama ang loob, ba't hindi na-identify yung anak ko? Asa na yung iba kasi may pusod nga. Asa na yung pusod ng anak nyo? Kinabit namin sa kisame.
Ay, kinain na ng
Daga or something. So, ganun, that's how science can help you. So, I've had a lot of other memorable cases to mass disasters or killings, assassinations, whatever. Masyadong marami. 30 years worth.
Yes. And sometimes, pwede rin baka may hospital na kino-cover up din yung actual cause of death na unless na-autopsy nyo, na may mga either na-aksidente daw or something, tapos yung pala may gunshot wound. May mga ganong cases po ba?
Yan yung tinatawag na iatrogenic. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Yung halimbawa, namatay in relation to a procedure. Anesthesia, surgery, etc. May mga referrals din akong gano'n. Minsan umaabot sa korte. And yes.
For liability rin, ano po?
Yeah. And that is a way for forensic pathology to help. Pero ang problema dyan, hindi madaling gawin. Kasi yung investigation, it starts in the hospital itself. Actually, sabi nga nila,
open to that, diba?
Ayun na nga sabi nga nila it's like a crime scene. Pagka namatay, halimbawa, anesthetic procedure, or that's what you think.
Yes po.
You freeze everything. Asa na yung mga vials ng gamot na binigay, pati yung oxygen tank, everything. Naka-standby yan for investigation. But that doesn't happen in the Philippines. No. Sometimes, I've had cases where biniblame yung procedure, but apparently it had nothing to do with the death. Nagkataon, pumutok yung aneurysm niya sa utak. And, yun.
That's why critical po yung trabaho niyo.
Oh, yes.
To be able to determine the
kaya
cause.
lang ang daming limitation kasi nga, kung hindi naman na-preserve yung dapat examinin. And you know, as a forensic pathologist, you contribute a piece of the puzzle. Like halimbawa, kung kailangan mong i-check for toxicology, mahina ang toxicology sa Pilipinas hindi na ikaw yun. Ang sa akin is, I examine the body, I get samples, I refer. So, tapos uupo kami, di-discuss namin. Yun ang mahirap sa Pilipinas, wala kang teammates din na automatic. Although I love it in the University of the Philippines because I think it's the best place for someone like me. I love the academic environment. Yung pwede kang magtanong sa ibang tao. And then, pagka tinanong mo or binigyan ka ng resulta, it's understood. You can argue. That is academic.
Yes.
Hindi yung, and I've experienced this, bibigyan ka ng result. Kung ano yung nakasulat doon, tanggapin mo.
Ay.
Hindi ko pwede questionin. And that, I think that's why I lasted this long in UP. I'm waiting for retirement already. Kasi it's still the best place for me.
So may integrity po pagdating
Yes,
sa mga
exactly. And that's the reason why if you're going to establish a forensic science institute, the university actually offers you that independence, integrity, the competence, which you may not find in any other place.
Sa tingin po ninyo, dahil sa mga kasong nahawakan na po ninyo, mas tumaas na ba ang tiwala rin ng publiko sa forensic pathology sa bansa?
I think may improvement. I just don't know how much is my contribution there. But I say that when I was starting, hindi kilala ang forensic pathology. Actually, ako nga hindi ko kilala eh. Natutunan ko lang yan when a senior pathologist said, huwag kang mag-law. Akala ko kasi noon mag-law ako eh. Medicine plus law. Huwag kang mag-law, tapusin mo yung pathology mo, tapos mag-forensic pathology ka. That was the first time I heard about it. And so over the years, hindi na ako ganun ka-defensive, although defensive pa rin. When I testify in court, when I was starting, hindi ka kilala. But now, pag nag-testify ka, parang mas alam na nung judge sino ka and what can you offer.
Yes.
In terms of explaining the case and so on. Minsan yung judge na ang nagsasabi na hindi mo ba kilala si Dr. Fortun? Lecturer namin yan or something like that. In other words, mas may pangalan ka na. So, it was more of a struggle before.
Home is where your health journey begins. Huwag palampasin ang weekly health advice mula sa mga eksperto. Masasarap at masusustansyang recipe. Guided exercises to boost your fitness levels. Tips to keep our fur babies happy and healthy. At iba-ibang fun activities na perfect pang-bonding ng buong pamilya. Ito po si Niña Corpus. Samahan niyo kami tuwing Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga para sa simula ng healthier and happier lifestyle ng buong pamilya. Health at Home. Dito lang sa inyong People's Television.
At nasa huling bahagi na po tayo ng ating programa ngayong gabi in person with Dr. Raquel Fortun. Nasabi niyo in some past interviews na meron yung tinatawag na autopsy lip.
Copyrighted yan, ha?
Yeah, that's yours.
Yeah, it's mine.
Yes.
Sa frustration ko, kasi nakikita ko, hindi naman inotopsy to, sinilip lang.
I see.
And I'm in a position to see these cases because these cases get referred to me after another examination. Minsan nga ako ikatlo eh. So I get the body after.
And it's gone through so much cutting and slicing and splicing.
Kasama yan sa report ko, sa findings ko. How did I find the body? If there was a previous examination, to what extent was he examined? And so on. And I get these cases where akala mo inotopsy. Autopsy report, although they call it a medical legal report. Pinaka-classic dyan yung kaso ni Kian de los Santos.
Yes.
And he was autopsied by PNP. So may doktor na gumawa. Tapos may report. And classically, lalo na sa PNP, ang igsi-igsi ng report nila. It's one page na dami-daming lines na or spaces. Pagkatapos may back page na ganyan lang kalaki. Okay? Nakalagay doon is to determine cause of death. Eh may tama siya sa ulo, dalawa. Sa may tenga, isa sa likod. Tapos may butas din dito, dalawa. Eh di simple, cause of death, gunshot wounds to the head. Eh di yun ang nilagay niya, gunshot wounds to the head. Pero meron siyang one-liner doon nakalagay, stomach contents. Okay, 200 cc of food. Okay, parang ini-imply, binuksan. Nakita ko yung incision kasi dinocument naman ng the second examination by Pau. From the report, mukhang external examination lang yung ginawa. And I have to give them credit because there's documentation. And do sa picture ng Pau, merong ang incision hanggang dito, which is odd. Kasi ang igsi-igsi.
Oo, dapat
tapos straight lang. Ang classic namin is pag ganyan. Right. Eh, ang kagandahan kay Kian, na-exhume. So, 5 years after, na-exhume siya.
Oh my.
Curious ako noon eh. Sana ma-exhume. Why? Kasi sabi ng Pau, meron siyang nakitang isa pang tama dito sa side. Sa
na
left.
hindi nakalista sa first autopsy.
Na hindi
autopsy.
silip. Hindi nakita doon sa first.
Yes.
So curious ako. And may pictures ang Pau.
Nakunan nila.
Nakunan. And that's the reason why you document. I see it and I agree. It looks like an entry.
Of a third bullet.
A third shot na entrance. What was damaged inside? Nothing. So, nung minexhume, I was very excited kasi, makikita namin kung nasan yung bala. And the first thing I ask for, especially for these exhumations na binaril, X-ray. So we do that care of the Philippine General Hospital Department of Radiology. And tanong ko doon sa residente kasi siya nag-arrange ng X-ray. May bala ba? May bala ba? Sabi niya, yes ma'am. Wow, exciting. So, binuksan, and this was very well documented. Nasaan yung bala? It was somewhere in the neck. Neck area.
Nag-rest sa neck.
So, ang tanong is, paano napunta doon?
Oo nga,
Di ba?
pataas.
And then I found a fracture here of the eighth rib. So, ang trajectory, that's it.
Yes,
Trajectory is pataas na ganyan. So, yung mga ganyan, i-correlate mo yan, you're just dealing with the body eh. But you have to correlate to explain how was he found. Remember the last pictures of him dead. Naka-crouch siya ng ganyan. This side was exposed. So the shooter or shooters were on his left side. This was close contact. Binaril talaga siya ng malapitan. For the two, I don't know about this one. Was it a second gun? Was it a second assailant? Maybe. But that's consistent with the bullet hitting some vertebrae here. Could it have been fatal? Pwede. Kasi may mga structures ka dyan na pwedeng makamatay. Blood vessels, the lung, here, and so on. So, mas may sagot tayo. But you know, the first two examinations totally missed the bullet.
Yan.
Why? Because, again, they do not do routine x-rays. An autopsy is complete, systematic. Up, down, right, left, front, back. External pa lang yan.
Yes.
Internally, we really take out the organs.
And you weigh it also.
You weigh some
Sometimes,
organs kasi the weight can tell you pathology sometimes.
Yes.
If there is trauma, natural disease, we document that. The brain, we cut here in the scalp na nakatago, hindi mo sinisira yung mukha eh. And isa pang frustration ko dito sa Pilipinas is kasi ang hiwa namin sa skull, yung skala, yung bungo.
Bungo.
Malapad. Nandito, tsaka nandito. Kasi pag binuksan mo ng ganyan, matatanggal mo yung brain ng buo. In the Philippines, ang nakikita ko, ang liit-liit, ganyan lang yung cut. Kasi hindi sila pathologists. That's the problem. Ang tawag ko dyan, alkansya cut. Kasi
Parang yung very narrow. Ayan. Ang barya lang.
And yun yung iniisip ko nun, paano kaya nila natatanggal yung brain?
Oo nga.
Kasi hindi pwede eh. And I've seen one na talagang quartered. You know, that's not how you do it.
Quarter the brain. Para malabas. Dapat the whole brain should be.
Minsan nga, mukhang autopsy lip din. Kunyari, binuksan, tapos sisilipin yung brain, and then that's it. Hindi naman tinatanggal. So we're talking standards. We have very poor standards here because the doctors are not trained, and that's what we're trying to fix.
Yes, with the institute.
Yes.
Opo. Sa mga dati niyo pa ring interview, sinabi niyo noon na maybe the dead are keeping you alive. I guess kasi you also have gone through some health scares po and health concerns. But what did you mean exactly by that?
Dinadasalan ko ba sila? Yes. Kinakausap ko ba sila? Yes. Parang ang feeling ko kasi, come on, I'm trying to help you, so help me too. Kapag na-frustrate ako, tulong naman. Kalampagin nyo kung sino yung dapat kalampagin, and I think it's working. I have a lot of health problems right now. And kaya nga sabi ko itong UP initiative of an institute, sabi ko, come on, it's about 20 years too late for me. It should have been done much, much earlier when I was younger, healthier, and more naive, I suppose. mas ganado. Right now, I am waiting for retirement. Maybe wiser, less naive, but definitely not healthy. And very realistic about what I can still do. And at some point, may mga nangungulit sa akin na, ano yan, hindi ka pa pwede mag-retire, wala ka pang net-train. Okay? Kinakantsawan ako ng gano'n. Isip ko naman, ano kang train? Wala naman kayong support eh. Yun na, paano ka mag-train ng ikaw lang? Bakit sa akin yung burden? And then naisip ko at some point, why is it my fault? Why I'm more realistic and kinder to myself na kung hanggang dyan lang ang nagawa ko, then that's it. Then that's it. At least I tried. Sabi ko nga pag ilibing ako, yung epitaph ko, she tried.
Pero,
morbid.
Yes, at least nakikita nyo na mahalaga talaga ang papel. And people are realizing this, ang kahalagahan po ng forensic pathology sa paghahanap ng hustisya, paghahanap ng accountability sa ating bansa.
We're late. Definitely late. But at least we're starting, apparently. May moves. This is good.
Do you think there will be more? How do we encourage the young? Paano po natin mahikayat yung mga kabataan na pasukin po itong field na ito?
Over the years, I have encountered students, residents, actually interested. Ang problema, we lost them. I lost them.
Where did they go?
Ibang fields, ibang bansa. May mga trabaho ngayon. Kasi anong meron ka sa Pilipinas? Maswerte lang ako eh. I would count myself lucky that I got opportunities and I was able to sustain myself. I stayed in the university. Fine. I'm happy. I'm not rich, but I'm happy. Mukhang meron ka namang nagawa. Pero yung iba, like for instance, I'm female. Yung traditional Filipino thing of if you're male, you're the breadwinner, you're head of the family, blah, blah, blah. I know of someone who was interested but could not really find anything to sustain the passion. So he moved on to other things. I was able to do that because I have to give credit to my husband who's also a doctor, who's OBGYN. So parang nasa kanya yung pressure na siya yung magdadala ng pamilya. Okay? Although nahirita na rin ako before na ano ba yung pinasukan mo, walang pera. Dapat lang naman i-temper mo yung lifestyle mo and all. Kasi parang iniisip mo, teka muna, if people say you're one of only two, kilala ka and whatever, di ba dapat ang yaman-yaman mo na? But my cases are mostly pro bono. So,
yes. So ano po yung
that's another frustration.
Yes, so true.
And that is also what we have to fix.
Yes.
For these young people. You have to get the best and the brightest para pumasok dito.
And
pero bigyan mo sila ng funding naman.
What do you think your legacy would be? Anong legacy ang nais mong iwan sa forensics?
I don't know. I really don't know how far I can go still. At best, siguro yung pumunta sa pag-iisip ng Pilipino na there is such a thing as forensic pathology, forensic science, and yun na nga yung sabi kong, please, hindi pwede yung pwede na yan. Itaas natin yung antas, accountability. Yung pag meron talagang pagkakamali, ayusin. And that's how they do it in other countries. When I meet other people from other countries, like just recently, somebody from Asia as well. Pinag-uusapan namin to. Mga problema. Sabi, paano na yung Pilipinas so behind? Sabi sa akin is, you have to champion, we need legislation and so on. And they have one particular forensic pathologist who went so far as to run for office. So she became a senator. And I was being challenged, ikaw din, you do that. But how can I do that? I'm not the type. But that was how she was able to change the system for them. So we have a long way to go. But I'm taking it a day at a time.
And we thank you for including this interview as part of your day. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Deb.
Dr. Raquel Fortun for joining us tonight. Truly learned so much. Although I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get into that kind of pero still marami po talagang mga na-interest sa inyo pong pagbabahagi ngayong gabi. Sa kaso po ng bansa na may limitadong bilang ng forensic pathologists, sa isang kamay mabibilang po natin, patuloy na naninindigan si Dr. Raquel Fortun sa katotohanan at sa hustisya sa pamamagitan ng agham, partikular sa larangan ng forensic science. Layunin niyang mabigyan ng tinig ang mga biktima at managot ang dapat managot. At yan po ang tunay na mukha sa likod ng mga balita at mga isyong pinag-uusapan, matapang na humarap at nagpakilala. Ako po si Angelique Lazo at ito ang In Person.